This is like the mellow version of 1,
What
2, 3 to the 4.
Okay. You got Whitney Houston on your shirt.
I do. I love Whitney. Man, I put this shirt through the dryer yesterday. This thing, I went to put it on today. It said, "You asking a lot."
Did you have some drier consequences?
Yeah. It said, "Honey, you have faith beyond the size of a mustard seed if you think you get into here." But I said, "Why won't he do it? Won't he do it?"
You just kind of wedged yourself in.
I did. It
like
looks
a
like a sausage casing, but that's why I had to put this jacket over it. Because, yeah, buddy.
Well, I'm back
today. I think she should just come on back. Come on in the room.
She wanted help commenting on a clip, so this is what I'm here for, instead of over at the desk.
Don't act like that. You was back last time. You just commented at the tiny desk. And what sense did that make? That don't make no sense. She be trying to front. You guys, I got new glasses.
Okay. So should we have a survey?
Yes.
Which glasses they like better? Okay. Option 1.
So these are option 1.
I call these the Monique. These are called the Monique.
Yes. I need chapstick. Yeah. So these are option 1. I like these. My sisters like these. My sisters were the main culprit.
Okay. Then you got option 2,
which I like. I just don't like them on camera, I don't think. These used to actually be sunglasses, and they took the sunglasses.
Oh, I can tell.
Whoa. They took the sunglasses and turned them into actual spectacles. Glasses.
Okay. I call these the Chantal.
Now, she doesn't like them because she says they're big. She told me they made me look elderly. I do look exactly
they look like glasses my mother wore in the 80s.
I like them. I'm not really an 80s person, I'm more of a 90s person.
I know.
But I look exactly like my mother in these. Like, if you put us side by side, you wouldn't be able to tell who was who.
We got to get Pauline on the show sometime.
No, you don't. No, you're not even a little bit.
All right. So which ones do you like?
Option 1.
No, those are option 2.
Oh, yeah. These are option 2.
The Chantal.
She calls them the Chantal because she says Chantal is my professional demeanor. Chantal is my first name. But when I'm in serious mode, that's when Chantal comes out.
She's going to tell someone off.
It's not exactly true. So these are option 2. All right. And then we have, I'll go back and show you option 1.
The Monique.
I don't know. To me, these make us look like twins. They look like the same glasses.
See, Elaine says, I wasn't going to say grandma, but it's out there now.
Y'all be doing me dirty. That's all right. That's
Elaine's a truth teller.
It's okay. We are family. My family would do me.
All right. We got another vote for number 1. Yeah. We got a vote for your shirt.
Yes.
The Whitney Houston shirt got a vote.
Yes. It's a medium. Y'all, it's a medium.
And here's another one for option 1. See, option 1 be coming in strong.
You're cute in anything, but my favorite is option 2.
Oh,
hey, Jen.
Jennifer's coming through with number 2.
Yes.
Option 1.
Yeah.
Option 1 is a pretty strong winner right now.
I do think that they're better on camera. I don't know. There's just something about like the big sunglass look that I really like. But
okay, let's roll.
Know. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. All right, what are we doing first? You're in charge.
Oh, really?
Today, you're in charge.
Okay. Thanks for, letting me feel that in my mouth. I can't even speak.
So weird.
I just got stuck.
Now someone's commenting on what I'm wearing.
And Krista, they are overalls. You guys, if there was ever an article of clothing that said Krista K. Bontrager, it is these overalls. I absolutely love them. She's so cute in them, and she just be walking around the office. I love these overalls.
Well, the first day I wore them to the office, I bought them with some birthday money. And the first day I wore them to office, I come downstairs and Bob was like, oh. and he was like, you haven't worn overalls in a really long time. And I said, well, yeah, I was a young woman once when we were dating. When we first started dating, I used to wear them. I had a couple of pairs. And, then I got older and had kids and I'm not running around in overalls. But now that we're empty nesters, I saw these. I really liked them. I bought them from the Melissa Gilbert online boutique. She was the one who played Laura Ingalls in the old Little House on the Prairie show.
You know, I've never seen
And
Little House on the Prairie.
all the people my age know who Melissa Gilbert is. So I bought them from her little online store. They're really well made, actually. This is not a sponsorship. I just like them. So I bought them with some birthday money. And so Bob hadn't seen me wear overalls in a long time. And then I come to the office and Monique's like, I've never seen you wear overalls. Da, 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 da. And I said, look, when I was a young woman, I used to wear them. So I had to let the initial shock wear off.
It wasn't a shock. They're just super cute. They are cute. They really are. Okay, let's get into it. Now the first thing that we should talk about is the woke right.
Oh,
that's the one that I think we should talk about first.
Man, it's not in real life, but if you thought X was real life, you would think everybody's on the woke right. But it's not. X isn't real life.
Your X feed is so different than mine.
That's
I don't really
true.
know why. Like, I would not think that everybody's on the woke right.
Yeah.
When I go on X.
Oh man, that's my whole feed. It's frightening.
No, not at all. Not at all. So Jubilee, which is a production company, maybe? Is
Yeah,
that the way
I would
describe
characterize it. It's a channel.
Yeah, they're a channel, but then they also do I would say the production end of things too.
Yeah.
And they are definitely generally either like political in nature.
Yeah.
And so they just recently had Jubilee Surrounded debate where they get one person from
One
perspective, in the middle, and then they'll surround that person with 20 to 25 people from the opposite viewpoint.
So this show was one progressive versus 20 far right people. So not normal conservatives.
The extreme end.
Far right.
Yeah. Way beyond where we would go.
Yeah. So this clip is all over my feed. Now you hadn't seen this.
No, I
today.
had not.
You were like, what?
Before, this like 2 hours ago, I had not seen this.
This is the viral clip, but even our friend Neil Genevieve posted on it. So we're going to watch a little bit of this clip from Jubilee and then comment on it. So if you're confused as to what the woke right really is, we've done a couple of shows on it in the past, but here it is in the wild.
I would also say check out Neil Shinvi's work. Just follow him on X. He's always talking about it. But
if you're still confused, I think it's a great example. It's in the wild of what it is.
In the wild.
Of what this sounds like. All right, here we go. Fasten your seatbelts. Are you sitting down? Because I want to make sure you guys are going to be okay. You really got to be sitting down. All right. We're going to, let's see. Let's try this one. Oh, no, that doesn't help us.
That isn't. It's highly unfortunate. Just do that one.
No, because we can't see us. All right, there we go. And then I
thought I was in control. Guess not.
No.
Control.
All right, here we go.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Mehdi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us.
Yes.
And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment.
Notice how young all of these people are.
Yes.
And which gives us a clue about the emerging generation. Like our tendency is to think of young people as being very far left.
Mm-hmm.
But notice in this that these people all look like they're under the age of 30.
Yes, I also noticed that I didn't see too many non-white people.
That's true.
There.
Yeah.
I maybe one or two as I looked around, but it was a quick pan.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll go back to the clip. And also notice like what they're saying about blasphemy laws, of what that is, you know, no statements against God, and kind of some trying to criminalize commandments 1 to 3 in the good commandment,
I
or
also-
the 10 commandments.
I also think it's interesting that, to some degree, he's wanting to protect people against things like porn, things that are extremely harmful in our culture and society, and then dovetails into that blasphemy laws. And so there are places where we would say, as conservatives, how do we protect the vulnerable? How do we protect people from horrible things that happen in our society, like porn? Porn just doesn't hurt the watcher or, the participant. It hurts many people outside of those, areas as well. How do we stop that and protect that? But we don't go as far as to include all of the other things. So it's a nuanced conversation at times.
But it's common for woke right people, especially the Christian version, to be in favor of blasphemy laws. That's often a component of it. All right, let's keep going here.
I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the.
So these people want to, just so you understand, they want to abolish the Constitution. That's another big component of the woke right. So when he's saying, he doesn't think, he's not troubled at all if Donald Trump defies the Constitution, which is the question of debate. The issue of debate by the progressive was Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. This guy gets up there and says, who cares? I wish he would defy it even more, because the woke right people want to actually get rid of the Constitution. They want to enact an entirely new form of government.
Which, to Neil's point, makes them closely related to the woke left. And when you go into more of that socialist position, and I see this in South Africa a lot,
blow up all the systems.
Blow up the systems. We don't need the Constitution. Like, the Constitution was not meant for X, Y, and Z group. It's only meant for this one group here. So we need to redraft it or get rid of it and things like that. And someone mentioned in the comments horseshoe theory. I quickly looked it up on my phone because I was like, I think this is what it is. But yeah, let me definitely make sure. And it's actually that the far right and the far left, while they may see themselves as being opposing views, are actually closer in reality, than what either side actually thinks. And this is something that Neil Shinvey argues on X a lot.
Yeah. So be listening for that with a true woke right person. The woke left says things like, we got to deconstruct systems. The woke right version of that is, let's blow up the Constitution. So, all right, let's continue here. Oh, wait, I got to share the screen. I can't just play the video.
I should be in charge.
I know. All right.
Modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay. Surprise. I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do, because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in
Second
your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Okay, now this is an important part. Now, Allison's just getting here. So she says, what are we talking about?
Hey, Allison.
So we're looking at a clip from a video on the Jubilee channel of it's one progressive versus 20 far right people. And the question under debate right now is Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. That's what the progressive guy is saying. And all the far right people are responding to it. This guy gets up and says, I don't really care. I want to go even farther. I'm okay with dismantling the Constitution entirely. So this is an example of what we're calling like a woke right person and what they sound like in real life, not just on social media, not just Krista, Kevin, and Monique talking about it on a podcast. This is a real person with real beliefs getting millions of views on this platform.
So
So
we also highlighted, look at the age of the people who are behind or doing the videos called Surrounded. So look at the people who are surrounding the two debaters in the center. They're very, very young. And one of the things that I noticed too is that there doesn't seem to be many people who are of some kind of minority.
I haven't seen any
population,
minorities
but
yet.
I could be wrong. Like
Yeah.
they may just be very fair or something like that.
So he says, what kind of government are you for? I'm for an autocracy that aligns with Roman Catholicism. Now, this is something you and I brought up. I'm feeling like almost 2 years ago now when we did the show with Sam Say about Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
So this is the idea of, you might see it on social media as like the Christian Franco. Franco was a autocratic leader. I believe he was in Spain, who got rid of the communists. And he's often put forward by the woke right as like, that's the kind of autocratic person I want to get behind, is Catholic leader. And Stephen Wolf's project, according to Michael O'Fallon, he calls it a Protestant version of the Catholic integralist system of wanting to make Catholicism not just the law of the land, but the religion of the land. Yeah. And so that's what this guy is advocating for. So,
sorry, we just reading the comments.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
let's keep going. We can read the comments
all
as
right.
we watch.
So, all right. Sorry.
It's okay.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and that's part of the problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I can't even remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind of voted just to.
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders.
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
So,
well, actually, I have quite.
Some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white and should stay that way.
How does the United States? I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the
So there's another important point, is that this is really an ideal to kind of focus on white Americans.
Yes.
They want to give some place for people like you.
Like a heritage.
Heritage American. That they wouldn't call you a heritage American, but a descendant from slavery. They got to figure out what to do with you. They got to figure out what to do with, like, I don't know, most of the Southwest territory that was acquired from Mexico in the Mexican War. So,
but for some people, I may not be considered someone that they would need to figure out something with. I might be someone, if I culturally do not believe in the quote unquote values of America, which they put forward as, the values of America. If I don't agree with those, then I might be on that next plane back to Zimbabwe.
I don't
Liberia.
Where are you from?
Chad. I don't know.
Los Angeles.
But no, they won't let me stay there. And it's interesting on Off Code, which is the podcast that I do with Kevin Briggins. We actually went through, was it Joel Webbin? I think we went through one of the videos from Joel Webbin and kind of analyzed what he was saying and who were the people that he thought would be able to stay in America. And what does that mean? And how should we consider, thoughts like that from people who identify on some spectrum of Christian nationalism, far right? Like, there's different terms that people use, and it represents a spectrum of differing ideas.
So I would say like Joel Webb and Stephen Wolf would be like the Protestant version of this guy in some respects. So, all right, let's keep going with this a little longer.
the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
But
Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit, because this is very common among the like woke right and this particular stream of Christian nationalism, is that they want an autocratic leader, democratically elected. Some of them are open to that, but that they want to kind of bring back the elite class, the aristocracy. They see that as a horrible outcome of the 20th century, all this flattening out of classes. They really want to bring back the idea of high class aristocracy. And then from this educated class, in this case, a Roman Catholic, that would be an appropriate candidate to be an autocratic ruler, because the end goal is that the autocratic ruler does everything it can to force everyone to be a Roman Catholic, if not in heart posture, but at least in practice. This is my understanding.
I just keep asking the question of what is that Venn diagram of overlap between autocracy and totalitarianism?
Well, and did you notice it's like, well, what kind of leader would that be? Oh, good person.
Mm-hmm. Like,
have you not read like the history of humanity? Do you not have a sin concept? You claim you're a Roman Catholic,
have you
but
read the Bible?
Yeah,
just the Bible.
You claim you're a Roman Catholic. Do you not have a vigorous viewpoint of sin and the simple human condition?
Where I think that, again, the horseshoe theory, the far right and the far left come together, because on the far left, like, take someone, and I'm not saying that Kendi is far left, but take someone like Kendi's position and this idea of utopia. If we just do all of these things, basically, if we're just good people, then we will be able to get rid of racism on all fronts. Now, his ideas of racism extend into body, like fat size and LGBTQ plus stuff and all of that. But it is this idea that we can be good, and we can be good on our own means and merit. If I just am this type of person, whatever that this type of person is for that group.
Yeah. And they would say, people in this stream would say, the world has been taken over by the far left and built system and structures around that. Everything's focused on the kind of normalizing the alphabet people, feminism, and all the structures are geared that way. So they want to introduce race consciousness for white people.
Yeah.
And so, again, we're getting back to the horseshoe theory.
But, I did mention this in 2020 on Elisa Childers' podcast. I'm just going to say that and sip my water, because this is before there was this rise of the woke right. Someone, I think was it Melissa? Scroll back a little bit in the comments. Melinda, maybe. Scroll down. It was her first comment. No. Okay. James Lindsay describes it well, because he also did a interview with, what's that guy's name? John Stotwell?
John Stossel.
Although I am not far right, I kind of get the frustration. This is what I was talking about then. The frustration of constantly being put down, constantly being literally set to the side. When we're going to talk about, like, having a bias against you or not being able to be hired, like, how are we wanting to define marginalization or oppression at that point? But many of what was being claimed, or what is currently being claimed by people on the left, actually is happening or has happened to white men especially. And so, yeah, I get it too. We talked about that. Like, what is the frustration, and what happens when a group of people get tired of the treatment, when they get fed up?
What happens when people of European heritage constantly get told that we don't have a culture, or our culture is wicked? our skin color makes us wicked. Eventually there's going to be pushback.
Yeah.
And this is starting to emerge as what pushback looks like. So, all right, let's watch a little bit more here. Are you guys enjoying this, or have you had enough of the clip already?
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I don't. I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
So what he's saying here when he says, I don't care if you call me a Nazi at all. So let me explain what's happening here. This guy, Carl Schmitt, has this friend-enemy distinction, and he's going to go on and talk about it. But when he says, like, oh, Carl Schmitt, the Nazi, like, and what he's saying is, I don't care what the source of a truth is, or something I see as a truth, even if you call me a Nazi, even if it's from a Nazi thinker, you can call me names. I like this idea. And I think that there is this mindset that's happened now where white people, a lot of white people, are not afraid anymore of being called racist. There's like a group of people, there's like, we don't care. You can call us names. We don't care.
Well, I think it's even beyond that, because I encourage people, like, look, you cannot have your feelings all tied up behind a word. So if somebody's going to call you a racist, they're going to call you. I get called a racist. You can get called a racist. Like, your feelings can't be so soft that it takes you out for 2 weeks because you got called a bad name. What I see here, I think, is actually a step beyond that. It's like, okay, I am willing to be the worst of the worst and actually a Nazi and revise history, because this term isn't just connected to like a name and the bad things that happened. There are a lot of people who are, and we'll show a clip of this later on, but people who are taking the idea of Nazism and making the Nazis the good guys. Hitler was the good guy, and the Jews are the ones who provocated the issue of Nazism in the first place. And so I think that that's what's actually happening. There's this imbibed view of like, well, Nazism actually might not be a bad thing. So call me a Nazi because I'm going to stand for freedom the way Hitler did.
Yeah. So someone's asking, wait, is the idea white people felt bullied so they became fascist? Yeah, I think that's kind of part of the idea, is when you're constantly told, when young people feel this way. I think this is you have to also factor in the generational issue. Like this, if you're in the boomer generation, I've never seen a woke right person who's a boomer. My generation, Gen X, your generation, millennial.
Zennial.
It's not really, I've never known a Gen X person, but I'm sure there's one out there. But this is largely like a Gen Z thing of, hey, we've been told our whole lives that white culture is crap, white culture is wicked, or we have no culture, we're not to be respected, our religion isn't to be respected, and we're sick of it. And so this is what the pushback starts to look like.
So I want to address 2 comments.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it now, but there was a question, and maybe it was NutriCoach, asked a question about horseshoe theory. So I just quickly took something off of Wikipedia. Let's see what it says. A popular discourse that asserts that advocates of the far right and far left, rather than being at opposite ends of the linear continuum.
So in other words, it's not this.
It's not a straight line.
I'm
going to show you a picture. Rather than being at opposite ends of, rather than being at opposite and opposing ends of a linear continuum of the political spectrum, they closely resemble each other, analogous to the way that the opposite ends of a horseshoe are close together. And so then it gives you this picture, and this is the picture of a horseshoe. And so you see, like, I'm trying to get it out of the light. You can see the far right and the far left. They're actually closer together than what they realize.
Yeah.
They actually are advocating for many of the same things.
In 2020, we really started having the public display of public conversations in earnest about the far left. And you know, the BLM riots, and that brought up socialism and a lot of Marxist ideas, and the collapsing of societal norms and queer theory and all of that. So this is kind of the pendulum swing the other direction. But instead of like thinking of it as a line, it's really a horseshoe. Now we're going to use a lot of the ideas from Gramsci and others to now push back and have race consciousness of white people. And so that's why we call it the woke right, is they're using a lot of the ideas that we used to call the progressive left, and they're using those ideas and repurposing them on the right.
There was another question from Calming Waves, maybe. Okay, not afraid. I think scroll down maybe a little bit. No, the other way. Not afraid of being called racist, or are they just openly racist? And so
it depends.
It does depend. And I think, but that's a very good question, because I think, no, they're not afraid of being called racist.
And some of them are racist.
Some of them are openly racist. You know what I mean? Like I am a strong advocate. You can't let people's, like, I mean, if it's like your grandmama calling you racist, maybe you should go and pray, or like, you know, take it up with the Lord, consider some things. But I mean, you also have to consider the ideology that's pushing the word. Like what is behind this person's comment, and how are they defining the term racist? Yeah. If they're just like, well, you're white, and so you automatically perpetuate all of these systems against me, well, I might push back against that and ask other questions. But if they're like, you call me the N-word, you a racist, well, I might have to ask a question or three, you know what I mean? And reconsider some things. So I would not, what?
Nothing.
Oh, so
just look,
you know, we have to define our terms well. We have to consider the source of the word and things like that. But then we also can look and say, well, if I am evaluating something based on evidence, yes, these people may actually be participating in racism. And I say that because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And I think that, well, let's watch a little more the clip. There's one comment I want to get to, but we'll come back to that.
Ooh,
yeah.
Common Waves got a comment.
Yeah. Just let's keep going.
I'm in charge, I thought.
It's all part of my master plan.
I know.
Nazis.
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
We may have to rename this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
He killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Now, for the podcast, there's a little fact check that comes on to the side that says Franco and his forces killed or executed 150,000 people. That included members of the Catholic clergy who were deemed either liberal or loyal to the Spanish Republic. And so the idea here is that you elect the right kind of autocrat who's going to enforce Catholicism, or the Protestant version of that, as some Protestants are going to, they call him the Christian prince, that as long as you have the right kind of autocrat, then that's okay. And so this progressive is trying to challenge this young man and say, like, is that really what you want to say, that you're okay with killing people? It wasn't. He's kind of hemming and hawing, but it kind of seems like he might be open to that idea. If you're the right kind of opponent, maybe you won't get the same protections.
Yes, and so, but where does the image of God fall in under that then?
Yeah, and as a Catholic, I would have that question as well. All right, let's keep going.
Killed any innocent people.
The white terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill
You
people.
just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and
the
being a
feeling
Nazi
is mutual,
and
so
being a Nazi means upholding human
it down.
dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a
I
state that I was
with the
running.
greatest of
I
respect,
wouldn't want to hurt
I don't
you or
debate.
anything like that. But
What are we
quite
doing
frankly,
here? I don't debate fascists.
That's pretty much the end. So yeah, I don't really understand what he's doing there with the concept of human dignity, or whose dignity he's gonna protect. It was a little bit, his communication was unclear. But yeah, so but his fearless presentation, this is what being on X is like. It's a lot of these kinds of people, and the sort of, I don't really care if you call me a Nazi, a racist, whatever. These people have become somewhat impervious to what they consider just mamby-pamby name calling. So, all right.
Hey, E. Roger says, I am in charge because you won't leave until September.
Yeah.
Reduced hours.
I'm not reduced hours. I've
No,
told you
wait.
this 1,000
I
times.
can never get the time.
Modified work schedule. I'm just not on camera.
I never
I am
get it
working
right.
same amount of hours. I don't want.
I can never get the name right. I called it a sabbatical. She flipped out just like she did right now. It's reduced, not reduced out. I don't know. Look, she here, and I'm grateful. That's all I can say. Look, go to Calming Waves Julian's comment about Black people.
Okay. All right, here we go. So let's read this and interact with this comment. I guess then Black Americans would get to be super fascist based on the last 200 years of treatment alone. So this is a very provocative comment. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I thought it said super racist. My glasses, I'm still getting used to them a little bit. But yes, I would say there is.
I think that's the gist of what this person saying.
There is definitely that sentiment. And I think we see it in how people interact, like how they're.
Who's we? Who are you talking about?
Well, I see it, I guess.
Okay, and who's people? White people or Black people?
Black people.
Okay.
I guess then because we're talking about Black Americans get to be super fascist based on the last 200 years of treatment. I think that would be the excuse. I'm not going to say that would be the what I would agree with.
So do you think Black people can be racist?
According to the definition?
No, I'm serious. This person's new, so they don't know our views.
Yeah,
so
I definitely
don't be cute. Just explain the view.
You know what? Not today, Satan. Yeah, I definitely think Black people can be racist. I think that, the unfortunate redefinition of the term racist meant that Black people could not be racist because of this component of institutional power. But I do believe that Black people can be racist. We need to define our terms biblically. And biblically, when we're thinking about ethnic partiality, hatred, slander based on ethnicity, culture, language, accent, nation of origin, yes. Anybody can be. It doesn't matter. Like, do you have the potential to sin? Racism is a sin.
Do you think Black people could build a system to disadvantage white people?
I would say that while the argument of affirmative action and, who was really helped more by affirmative action and things like that, I would say that our DEI policies definitely create systems that people use to disenfranchise white people, to be able to make sure that the LGBTQ plus community, Black people and things like that are set in positions, either in employment and college acceptance and all of that. But it disenfranchises, it promotes Black people. It can. Yes, it can.
Depending on the person controlling the system.
Mm-hmm. Yes, disenfranchise white people. And I think that this is what, people like Kevin or Kendall Qualls or Vince Elliott and, people like that, April Chapman, are speaking out against on their channels, is that, we need a system based on meritocracy. How do we participate fairly with people and not give this unmerited advantage to a group?
Yeah. I think that from the woke right perspective, what they would say is, I'm surrounded by systems that are being built and controlled by socialist leaning, Marxist informed,
Mhm.
queer people, progressive blacks, and that and these systems favor certain minority groups and leave out white people and disadvantage white people. This is the woke right kind of thingy. So they would say those fascist systems are already in place.
Well, that they're everywhere at
Yeah.
all times, the same way that
Look
the woke
at-
left say that they're everywhere at all
Look
times.
at all of our government institutions prior to the Trump administration. Look at our college admission forms. Look at all the employers that require you to write diversity statements as part of your application process.
Well,
They would say that those systems are already there.
Or look at our promotion process.
Yeah.
Have you read these books? Are you of this ethnic background? A couple months ago, I did a family meeting on the mayor of Chicago and how he had basically weighted his system so that Black people were in charge and they were going to hire Black and all these things, and it was a Black majority. Well, what do I do if I am a white person, who's already has a job there and it's my turn to be promoted? Well, if ethnicity comes in or skin color comes into play, I'm not going to get, that job or that promotion. We talked to college professors, especially early on, who, were very open about the fact that I was told, as a professor, I was told that because I'm white, they're only offering tenure to people of color this year.
Yeah. So just to go back to that comment, they would, the woke right would say, Black people, minorities, queer people already are the fascists.
Mhm.
Those systems are already in place and they are just reacting. They are having the opposite reaction. Okay, let's talk about the definition of woke. Somebody's got a comment. This always comes up when we use this word.
Mhm.
It's a very unhelpful word. I try not to use it. We've used it on this stream. So let's define it. This is a definition that this person saw today on Facebook, and I want you to react to it. I hope everyone realizes woke means fully aware that someone is trying to take advantage of you while assuming you're unaware and while they're trying to suppress you. Hence, stay woke.
So
anti-woke means that they are against people being aware of someone trying to take advantage of or suppress you.
So, I am definitely.
This is not a helpful definition.
No. I would say the term woke, just a brief, quick history. It did start like in the Black community way early on, in like
100 years ago.
Yeah.
This is not something invented in
new.
2020.
Not new at all. And it really did mean when somebody said stay woke, it was just meaning stay alert of your surroundings, especially if you are in the South and you are potentially in a place where there's a lot of race. Maybe you're walking down the street and you have to pass through a community that is highly white and, lynchings have occurred there. Stay woke. Huddy Ledbetter was a musician during that time, and there were 5 Scottsboro boys who were accused of a crime and they were thrown in jail. I think one of them might have been killed. I'm not sure. But he did an interview about, actually, no, the kid wasn't killed, but they were all thrown in jail. Huddy Ledbetter met with these kids. He was interviewed about his meeting with these boys. And at the end of the interview, he says, stay woke. And when you research the word woke, that's one of the main stories that comes up is the story of Huddy Ledbetter and saying stay woke in this interview. It means keep your eyes open, stay aware.
Stay aware of injustices.
That, yes, especially that are in close proximity. Now,
Okay.
I do not think that term from the 20s is what it means today. I would agree with James Lindsay's definition of critical consciousness, which is a word and definition that came about from Paulo Freire, who was the South American liberation theologian out of Colombia, Brazil. And the critical consciousness definition is always that you're always aware. You have a critical consciousness. You have an awareness of injustice at all times. Injustice largely based on things like or defined by, I would say, inequities. It's not necessarily a definition that is helpful in saying, well, this person is being trafficked. That's an injustice. It is it's more of a critical theory term now. So when I am staying woke, I am staying aware of all of the injustices. Injustices largely defined by society and our culture, which is largely based on inequities. Does that make?
Yeah. So when you're using the word, it's like, well, is it there the historical definition, which is sort of a little bit more generalized of being aware of the injustices around you in your close proximity, versus the critical consciousness definition, which tends to be how you and I use the term as a shorthand way to refer to a particular set of beliefs and ideology. So now, we should probably say that this young man, I thought this is an interesting little sidebar to the conversation. He got fired from his job and set up a Give, Send, Go. He's got $38,000.
Wow.
So far in his Give, Send, Go. And as a result of his appearance on Jubilee, he was released from his job and is raising money for an emergency funds while he's looking for another job. And so, this it kind of raises some questions about grifting, as they call it, of, making money off of situations like this. But kind of an interesting sidebar there.
We have only 15 minutes
I know.
left. We have so many things to talk about.
I know. There's,
I would say that's
all right. What do you want to do?
Well, you're in charge. No, I'm just playing.
No.
Let's go to the next thing because
You want to go to the next thing?
Yeah,
Okay, there's some comments here, but
okay.
Yeah,
did
it's
we-
okay. Like there's this thing on redlining. I don't know if
Oh,
we
I
want to
didn't
go
see that
down
one.
that rabbit hole.
We can. Let's see.
If we do that, we probably aren't going to do any
We
other
aren't gonna do
topics,
any other topics. I know it's really sad.
because then we're going to get into reparations and blah blah blah. So, if I have any moderators on here, on the YouTube, can you post our previous conversation about reparations there for Calming Waves, Julian? We can't cover everything here.
I know.
So
I wish I could.
if someone could, one of my moderators, if you could do that, that would be great.
But the gist of it at the end. So there's a comment about reparations because of redlining. Just put it up. We'll just finish out the show with this.
All right. Okay.
Slavery and redlining stole wealth and opportunities from Black people for over 100 years. These opportunities went to some white Americans. How else to balance the scales? DEI, affirmative action, or reparations? Pick one. I think you're mistaken. Okay, so no.
On all of these, we wouldn't pick any.
I wouldn't pick anyone. I would pick hard work.
And we're going to give our answer from a Christian point of view of our best understanding of the Bible, not based on what the culture is saying. So, all right, go ahead.
So yeah, I would definitely say that we are called to work. We are, when we think of history, when we think of redlining, when we think of slavery and things like that, I would say yes, there were a lot of injustices that happened to Black people at the hands of white people in America. I am not a racism denier. I'm not a slavery denier. I do think that we should have more nuanced conversations, though. I would ask the question. Let's start with slavery. And I've asked this question before. What do we do with the Blacks who own Blacks? What do we do with the Native Americans who own Blacks? I know people are going to come on here and say, oh, it was just a small percent. So what, we just ignored a small percentage? No, and it actually wasn't just a small percentage. We in the Black community do not talk enough about the Blacks who own Blacks. We don't talk about things like Blacks working and being slaves and buying their freedom. We don't talk about the ways in which Black people, here's a book that I would recommend, Read Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington, and see what the conditions were of Black people and his mindset behind the Emancipation Proclamation, behind Black people coming out of slavery. He documents people who never even wanted to leave slavery. And like his own mother crying, what are we going to do now? We've been provided for. But then he also documents Blacks who, because slavery ended and whites did not have the understanding of how to work the land and that education that many slaves had got from their slavery experience, white people then became destitute, and blacks who then shared back their wealth and what they had with their white slave owners. But I do think that, you know, when we talk about redlining and we talk about the things that kept black people down, it was actually during those times when black people prospered the most. We only see this decline of the black community. We only see our decline in marriage rates and poverty rates and all of that after the civil rights movement, after we see King and the ability to participate in things like government welfare programs on bigger scales. The Moynihan Report is coming up on its 50th anniversary that talked about blacks before and blacks after. And so, no, I wouldn't choose DEI, anti-racism, reparations, or any of those things. I would say we need to stop crying about the past and actually be productive in our future.
And there was a follow-up comment here. They're taking issue with your view about work. I just want to encourage you to try to grapple with the biblical standard of the fact that, yes, a wrong was done to slaves, but there are no slaves today. Black Americans are not slaves. White people are not slave owners. We've got to, at some point, move beyond that. And the biblical standard of reparations is the person who was injured and the person who did the injuring. We do not have 4, 5, 6 generations removed where there's
precedent
biblical precedent of reparations. It's just not a biblical concept. Always and everywhere in the Bible. We have a whole chapter about this in our book. So you're going to need to do some homework. Or we're not your library. You got to go do the work.
Now, I would say that the point of how taking this to a more biblical position, how do we release slaves? At the end, I don't know if it's Leviticus, but slaves in scripture are supposed to be given like a severance package once they're released. How do we talk about that severance package? Well, that was a conversation at the end of the Civil War. What are we going to give slaves? And it never made it to fruition. And so was an injustice done to that group of people? Sure. But that injustice did not stop the black flourishing of that time. And so I am confused when there's this argument made, and I used to make it, now I'm like, how was I connecting point A to point B? But when we make that argument of, well, because of this thing that happened way back here, we need to give to these people here, when there's been, 1865, 1960, 100 plus, years of opportunity for us to build wealth, for us to be responsible and to participate in human flourishing. I would say the things that we're seeing in the Black community today have nothing to do with white people. The things we're seeing in the Black community today really have to do with us taking a lack of responsibility for our own communities.
Okay. So I'm at no point, I don't know why this person's coming after me, but
because you said something.
No, I didn't say that. I think that the biblical standard is we can remember the past, we can remember the injustices, we can learn from them, but the biblical standard of reparations is the injured party with the person who did the injuring. We do not have that today. Now, that's not to say I don't believe in reparations. I do. It's a biblical standard. There's injuries that have happened right now in our current society that I think a case could be made for reparations. And I think that we could have that conversation. But I'm going to hold to the biblical standard. And so I'm not going to be, I'm not going to advocate for generational reparations when there's no biblical standard for that. So
we're gonna have to answer when we don't conflict with the other one.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Let's see. It would be unfair to say nothing was done for Black people immediately post-slavery. 1866 homesteading. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to parse that out. And our country has not done right by a lot of people. Many people have not been done right by our country. And we can talk about all of these interesting historical examples, but I would much rather talk about what's currently being done. Like, for example, here's an example of a current injustice, which is really where I choose to put most of my energy, is talking about current injustices, because I feel like that's more useful. Eminent domain practices is land theft. And when you take land away from, private property owner, now I think this person's a socialist, so they're probably not going to like this example. But
I don't know about that.
I think eminent domain laws violate scripture and constitute as governmental property theft. I think that's an injustice when that happens. I think that there are other injustices that our government perpetuates right now. I think the last administration and their participation in human trafficking. I've talked to multiple people who work in the field and space of human trafficking, and they all have told me universally that the biggest human trafficker is the US government. And that was particularly true in the last administration. I think it's a horrible injustice. And so I much prefer to talk about injustices that are currently happening. So we're just ignorant. We're caring people, but we're ignorant. Well, I think, Julian, you need to do some homework too. So with all due respect.
No amount of reparations would ever be enough for some people. And I think that's a good point, Rakita, that what is the actual plan? Like, does everybody get $100? Does everybody get $100,000? Where does this money come from? How do we, because it's going to have to come from taxes. So how do we just tax white people who we know own slaves? What if those people are all dead now when their lineage has stopped? What black people get it? There was a comment like, well, if the black people own black people, then they wouldn't get it. But it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense, especially based off of the history of the Negroes. Okay, looking at what we have accomplished before we chose to marry the government. See, this is the problem, is that the government stole something. The government then chose to come and get in bed with us, or we got in bed with the government through welfare and all of these other acts and different positions. And now here we are now married and wed to the Democrat Party that just continues to I was going to say something else, to do what's wrong. And yet it's how can we stay linked to the government? This is the number one problem with my I think with the argument of reparations, is because now we are relying upon the government to give me something. I don't need
to make it right
anything from the government.
And it's not a biblical concept. See, the problem, Julianne, is that you want to have a conversation that I don't know what your view of the scripture is.
Yeah.
So you're wanting to have a conversation, apparently, according to socialism. That's not my standard. I'm not a socialist. I'm not even sympathetic to socialism.
Democratic socialist.
I'm not a socialist. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a socialist. I don't care if Einstein was a socialist. I don't care. That doesn't move me, because to me, that's a worldview issue. And socialism is utterly incompatible with the Christian worldview. And because I'm a Christian, that's like telling me, like, well, you could be a Christian Buddhist. No, I can't. Those are mutually exclusive worldviews. And so I'm not moved by socialist arguments.
Yeah.
And
because
so
it's really
I'm
theft.
I'm not moved by arguments about generational reparations from 6 generations ago, because there's nothing about that in the Bible.
Yeah.
So I'm not moved by any of that.
We have to go. But one of the things that I did want to comment on is a book that I am starting right now. I've mentioned assimilation versus multiculturalism on a couple of episodes, just here and there. But I'm actually starting a book called The Unmaking of Americans, How Multiculturalism Has undermines America's assimilation ethic. This book was written in 1998 when this gentleman began seeing how a lot of the push toward being a multicultural society versus an assimilated society was actually harming the American fabric. And I am hoping to actually either do a book review on this or a podcast on it. We need to really think about, what does it mean to be multicultural versus what does it mean to have an assimilated ethic in America? Part of the multicultural agenda and the multicultural way of life is seeing all cultures as being equal, and they're not. And this is why we can see, Americans advocating for, Muslim mosques, and us being okay with the socialist agenda in our country, and because all cultures are good and all the ideas from all the cultures should be equally accepted. That is the lie of multiculturalism. And so,
remember we had that big argument about assimilation?
Big old argument
about 3 months ago.
No, it was not 3 months ago.
Yes, it was.
How you gonna sit before these people and tell them that story? That is not. It was not 3 months. It was probably like 6. It wasn't 3 months ago.
Okay.
It was like 6. But yeah, I'm definitely I was a proponent. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about you, but I did. A proponent of multiculturalism, and now I have just been swayed and persuaded.
Julian says there are socialist Christians. Yes, Julian, I'm aware of people running around saying that they're socialist Christians.
Can't be.
They're progressive Christians. They're not. No. They're not biblical Christians.
Can't be. Socialism is okay with theft, and you tell me. Not
Mutually,
okay with private property.
Yeah, it's just like, I can't say I'm a Christian witch. I can't say I'm a Christian Buddhist. I can't say I'm a Christian socialist.
Yeah, they're incompatible.
They're incompatible. It's like saying, I'm going to eat a vegan steak. Like that's not a thing. Okay, I understand that people run around and call themselves that, but it's not a thing. It's a category error.
And Julian, you know what? I will say we are glad you're here. Like it
makes it more interesting.
It does make it more interesting. And I really do hope that you check out our book, Walking in Unity. Check out Booker T. Washington, Up from Slavery. There are a lot of people who are definitely calling themselves Christian socialists. My question to you is this: if you are a Christian socialist and you believe that Christianity is the truest true, it is an objectively true religion, what are you doing with Jesus? What are you doing with, because it doesn't connect. And this was where I really struggled in the beginning. It was like, what am I going to do with Jesus? What am I doing, not with the Christian people who have failed throughout Christendom, but what am I doing with Jesus? How am I making the God of the Bible the ultimate authority? If I believe in Jesus and that God is ultimate authority, what do I do with the 10 Commandments? What do I do with the Old and New Testament that have many principles that go against socialism? You have to figure out what you're going to do with Jesus.
Yeah. And this person, Julian, wants us to talk to socialists. We know socialists. Yeah. We've talked to them. We know it's not like, I don't know. You might think that like we're like insulated,
no, that's not Julian, that's Julian.
Yeah. Oh no, it's right here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, Christian socialist is not a thing. Okay. Somebody wants to know if we have recommended books on our website. Yes, we have a page. If you just go to centerforbiblicalunity.com and click on the Take Action button, there is a tab that says Read Primary Sources, and the address is /books.
centerforbiblicalunity.com/books.
If you go there, you could see lots of different books to help you. Okay, friends, we're going to hop off because our friends, the twins,
Kevin and Devin over at Informed Takes,
are starting their live. So we're going to
check them out. Informed Takes, y'all.
All right. Julian, with all due respect, if you don't see a contradiction between socialism and Christianity, you don't understand Christianity.
You have to really figure out what you're doing with Jesus.
You have been sold or taught a fake version of Christianity. You don't really understand it.
I was there too. So you're not alone in that.
I'm saying that as respectfully and lovingly as I possibly can, but you don't understand the faith. You have been sold maybe like what I call like the funhouse mirror view of the faith, but you have not been taught properly in the historic Christian faith of the last 2,000 years. So
All right, you guys, we have to run. Thanks, guys. Talk to you
We'll
later.
see